You're listening to Wisdom for the Rest of Us, a journey in search of wisdom that we can all use in our daily lives. I'm E.T. Hansen, but you can call me Eric. The wisdom of 101 famous poems. These are my thoughts on when will America fall? That's the question that I asked myself when I was reading Recessional, a poem that was never a favorite of my father's. Recessional was written by Kipling, and I read it in the Wisdom of 101 Famous Poems, and I wrote a little essay on it, and these are my thoughts on it. Kipling was probably my father's favorite poet. And he would read poems from Kipling to us as kids, but he never read Recessional. And maybe because it's a little bit strange, maybe because it's outdated, maybe because it's more English than universal. But Recessional is about the fall of the British Empire, and this was written at the height of the British Empire. At the height of the British Empire, Kipling said, let's not celebrate too much. Let's not get too arrogant, because everything must fall. Every empire must fall, and the British Empire will also fall. And of course, it has fallen. It's now just England or the United Kingdom. Great Britain is just a little island now, and on the edge of the universe, and it's not what it used to be. And America is, I think, America will be the largest, most influential country in the world for quite a while to come, even when other countries like China rise up to compete, which it will. China is clearly on a path to greatness as a nation, as a superpower, in a big way. But America is not. I don't think it's in decline at all. It won't be in decline for a long time, but it will fall eventually. And I ask myself, how will that come to pass? Everything must fall. Rome fell, so America will also fall. That's just the way it is. And I wonder to myself, what will happen? And then I have to ask myself, if you want to know how America will fall eventually, then you have to know what is the reason that America is great now. What is the basis, the foundation of America now? And America is a modern empire. America is not an empire like the Great Britain was, where colonialism. We have or had a few colonies, but it wasn't. We didn't take it seriously, and we don't, even when we go to war in foreign country, we don't use those countries. We went to Iraq, but we never used the oil. We never really profited much from it, and we set up their own government, Iraqi government, and wished them well eventually. And we didn't rule over them from the outside. We let them rule themselves, and we tried to encourage them and help them, even force them. I guess you could use that word if you wanted to, force them to install a democracy, but that's not like a colonist empire. That's a different kind of empire. And a lot of critics of America will say, "Oh, it's the same thing," but it's actually not. And so I wonder what makes America into an empire now. And if you look at what America exports, it's not actually goods and services. If you look at the list of great exporters of goods and services, of cars and experts, America is number 3. Number 1 in the world is China. Number 2 is Germany. This little country, which is sometimes seen as a little country, is the second largest exporter of goods and services in absolute terms in the world. Bigger than Germany exports more than America does. Germany has 30 to 35% of its gross national product comes from exports, while America's gross national products is only 10% exports, or something like that. Those are old numbers, but they fluctuate, but it's about right. So we are not an empire because we export Coca-Cola and McDonald's. We're an an empire because we export ideas. And cynics would say, "Oh, new ideas hasn't come from America, for years." But it's not true. If you look at, a list of, medical innovations in the last 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, a large part of it, over 50%, is from America. I think I've seen numbers where it's like, 70%, 85%. Of course, those are all numbers that, you can argue about probably. But there are 200 countries in the world, and America, in the medical area and scientific America provides more than 50% of all the innovations in these areas in the world. Social ideas, political ideas, cultural ideas. I live in Germany, and Germany is proud of its knowledge, of its science, of its education system. Very proud of its education system, but I look around here, and everyone's, when they go to movies, they go to Marvel comic book movies. When they talk about really good television, they don't talk about their own television series. They talk about I don't know, The Walking Dead and the Game of Thrones and that kind of thing. When German investors invest in film, they invest in Hollywood films. You look at the end credits of big Hollywood, big budget films, and you find a lot of companies joining who are considered producers, joining into producer credits, and they have the letters GmbH at the end, and that is it's a corporate, it's a German limited corporation, and that means the Germans have gotten together here. They pooled their money and they're investing in Hollywood movies, not in their own movies. Germany has a lot of culture, but it imports most of its culture. I don't know if it's most of its culture, but it imports a huge amount of culture from America and from the English-speaking world in general. If you look at the politics or social ideas, I go on the street here and everyone's talking about woke culture. That comes from America. Everyone's talking about Me Too. They use the words Me Too, American words. It comes from imported from America. They talk about Black Lives Matter. It's imported from America. All these things are imported from America. The new ideas, the ideas that move people, most of them come from America. It's the ideas, it's the science, it's the software, it's the new revolutions in how we live. There is no German, there is no European, there is a Chinese Google, but the rest of the world does not do Google, does not do Facebook. There was no German Facebook. There was a German Facebook. They tried to imitate Facebook for a while, but they failed. It's an American thing. The Americans do this. There are German Amazons, but they can't compete with Amazon because Amazon knows how to do it. These new concepts come from America. And it has something to do with the American social structure, something to do with the competition, with the need to have a new idea, our desire to make money, to get rich quick with the new idea, with the big idea, and that's why we keep producing these ideas. And it has something also to do with the way the state and laws are structured. It has something to do with free speech. It has something to do with our copyright laws that make it profitable to have new ideas, to invent the new, Viagra or whatever, to invent the new medical innovation. Innovations are worth a lot of money in America, and that's why we innovate. And we get a lot of ideas because of free speech, because it's okay to say whatever you want to say. So when I see people saying crazy, weird things, even conspiracy theories or right wing nut job things, I think, well, I don't agree with it. In fact, some of these things kind of frighten me, and I think some of the things are dumb, but the fact that you can have these ideas and throw these ideas out there and get other people to agree with you or to support you in having these ideas, that is a great thing. because you have to have a lot of stupid ideas to get the one good idea. And that's what America does well. And that's what makes us the empire. America is an empire of ideas. A lot of cynics out there will say, oh, it's a military empire. But the military is used mainly, for treaties with other countries. Other countries don't want to spend their money, like NATO does not want to spend. NATO countries do not want to spend their money on NATO, on their own defense. So America comes in and we sign a treaty, and we, set up our rockets as a shield to Eastern Europe, and it's going to be America as I speak. There's a crisis brewing with Russia and Ukraine, and the ongoing war between Russia and the Ukraine. And that's going to come to a head, or might come to a head. And America is responsible for it, not Europe, not the European Union. Even though the European Union is as big as America in terms of people and the economy. The economy of the EU, of the European Union, is just as big and powerful as America. But they don't spend their money on military, so they ask America to step in and do it for them. Okay, so we do have a lot of military power. That's true. I want to pretend like it's not. We're not militarily significant, but we are, of course. But the bigger thing is the ideas. The thing that really moves people is the ideas. If you have a big hit idea, whether it's a comic book or a product in America, you will be moving eventually not only Americans, you will be changing the lives not only of Americans, but of other people out there, of all around the world, especially the Western world and in other parts outside the Western world. So that's our empire. And so if you want this to continue, and I do, I think the idea contributions that America makes to the world, from Black Lives Matter to the iPhone, are positive, good things, and the future comes from America. And I want that to continue for as long as it can. If you want that to continue, you got to ask yourself, under what conditions will the empire, the American empire of ideas, continue? And that's all about protecting copyrights, protecting the right to have ideas, the right to say things that are unpopular, protecting freedom of speech, protecting freedom of publication, protecting the flow of ideas, protecting the value of ideas, making it financially valuable to have no ideas and to invest in innovation. We talk about things like, and it's a difficult subject. It really is a difficult subject, because things like the health system in America is way over expensive. Pharmaceuticals, medicine is way too expensive. And other countries cap it by law. They say, no, you cannot charge more than this much money for a drug. And so these drug makers go to America and they invent their drugs in America, and that's where they make their money. And so on the one hand, you want to have cheaper drugs because it really is a burden on Americans. But on the other hand, you also have to make it profitable for pharmaceutical companies to keep innovating those drugs. And that's a hard balancing act. I would not like to be the politician responsible for solving that problem. It's a big problem. It's going to be with us for a long time. But however you solve that problem, keep it in some way profitable to have ideas in America. If you do, you will keep America the modern empire. E.T. Hansen, that's me, is an American writer from Hawaii living in Berlin. I write novels and nonfiction in German and English. I teach the art of fiction, and I podcast about life and language and seeking wisdom. For more information, check out our publishing website, hulaink.com. That's Hula like the dance, INK like the printed page, in one word, hulaink.com. The music in this video was performed by our producer and editor, Lothar Rosengarten. Lothar is a musician who lives and performs in Berlin. For more information about him, please visit his website, lothar-rosengarten.de. That's LOTHAR-ROSENGARTEN.de. You can support Hula Inc. and Lothar and me by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Hula Inc. And don't forget to share our videos and our podcasts and subscribe to this podcast and to vimeo.com/Hula Inc. But mostly, we just hope that you enjoy and have something from our work. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. And we wish you all the love, luck, and happiness in this world.